Okay, quick taping, ladies and gentlemen, a little justice to my legacy, because one of my next albums, like I say, of this year or sometime in 2018, will be titled A Call for Justice, probably. Will be probably titled A Call for Justice or On My Mind Madness. Now, both those titles, On My Mind Madness and A Call for Justice, have to do with, I want to say, mentalities and how people talk, act, and think and so forth and so forth, and or you can say it also has to deal with depression, anxieties, struggles, hustles, misery, all those things, but definitely A Call for Justice, which is probably what the title is probably going to be. It's a call for justice. Again, to my legacy is that, once again, shout out to all my younglings out there. I love and care about each and every last one of you, and doing what I can to help you all, again, live on to a successful career is, once again, part of my legacy, because all of you young kids are a part of my legacy. So forth and so forth. Because, once again, I love and care about all you, and I would die for all you, and I promote and preach all y'all in pretty much every song I drop. And if not every song, a good majority of it. Now, one of my biggest points to y'all when it comes to A Call for Justice is, just like I said, when it comes to my legacy, when it comes to getting my legacy right on what I stand for and what I believe in and what I do for a living and what I do to, help everybody else towards a better tomorrow. Again, one of the top reasons, and I've expressed this in other episodes, one of the top things you have to realize that I have said before, that my legacy is in the music. My legacy is in these videos. And one of the reasons why I say that is, again, because without these videos and without the music, at least the way I look at it, certain people, if it was up to certain people, because the only other person that I'm telling you could 2020 tell my legacy better than me is God. That is the only person who I'm telling you 2020 could tell my legacy better than me is God. And the reason why I say that, because there's a lot of other people out there who, again, of which I've met with, they know me, I've studied them, they've studied me, they have good opinions about me, so forth and so forth. I have good opinions about them, like plenty of people who I'm good friends with and I care about dearly. But even them, they know, like, the good side of me, like, they know the complete, like, it's like, for example, they think that I can never get angry. About that is a better way of saying it. They think that they've never seen me angry, so they don't think I can ever get angry. Because they've only seen me positive, and they've only seen me outgoing, and they've only seen me uplift people and whatever else. Which, again, are all positive aspects of my personality. But I can get angry. I can get very angry. I can get very much of negative smarty at times. I can be very explicit at times. I don't really mean with cursing, but I mean when it comes to dissecting things, dissecting things and dissecting the analysis to break it down into like a science experiment, into a blueprint, a PowerPoint. I can do all those things, to where certain people would think, and I can beat not almost anybody, but I can definitely school certain people when it comes to logic and common sense. Again, you'd be amazed, but that is totally how it is. I can school certain people when it comes to straight logic and common sense. Logic and wisdom, all that other stuff, I can. But one of the top things, as I've said before in these videos and many other videos before, is that, like I say, if my legacy, I know that if my legacy was left up to certain other people to tell, they would never get it right. They'll probably be like, oh yeah, he was a smart kid, but his problem, he just never wanted to listen. And I gotta, break that down for you. No, it's not that I never wanted to listen. Just certain people never knew how to talk to me. And then other people never knew how to even comprehend what I was saying. It's not me that had all these, negatively mental problems. It was just them who never knew how to talk to me, and them who never knew how to legitimately, look at the world with an open mindset. Like, know what's already written in a star. It was already set in stone. But also give new life and new hope to other possibilities, that could be hidden. But it takes, I guess you would say, that special type of genius to actually, unlock them and so forth and so forth. By the way, tonight is Sunday Night Football, KC, Kansas City versus Houston at Houston on NBC. So check that out. But who am I kidding? This video probably won't get the 10 views until the coming weeks or so forth and so forth. But you get the point. Like I said, I do these videos and I do my music to legitimately for my legacy, to set it in stone what my legacy is, who I am, what I stand for, what I believe in. Because I'm telling you, I know straightforward that if it was meant for some, if it was up to certain other people to tell my story, they would never get it right. They probably will tell you that I was a good kid, but I just never wanted to listen. You know, I could have succeeded if I had just listened more, you know, to certain other people and whatever else. Like, and I'm telling you straight up, like, it's not that I would never listen. I listened. I just dissected what they said into a bigger picture. And that's what they didn't want to accept. They didn't want to accept that I could dissect. They didn't want to, they just didn't want to accept that I was smart enough to dissect their advice into multiple different categories. And I was able to be open-minded and look beyond the regular status quo, onward to hopefully rewriting the status quo. Because one of the top things that this video has to focus on is the title of a new song that I don't know when it'll be coming out, but hopefully will be on one of my future albums, titled Surpass You. Now, I kind of got that title from Drake a little bit with his song called Lose You, but Surpass You, or at least whenever I think of Surpass You, I think of his song Lose You. So what I think about when it comes to surpass you, I think to myself, it's like, how many people I'm probably going to surpass because of my standards compared to their standards. I've said it plenty of times before, you know, getting out of high school and getting out of college with your degrees, your diploma and degrees, those are great accomplishments. But I've said before that the real success comes from what are you going to do once you get those diplomas and degrees. The real success comes from what you build with those diplomas and degrees towards the next 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Like, can you do well enough to set up your kids for life and your grandkids for life and your great-great-grandkids for life? Stuff like that. That's one of the top things I'm trying to express here. Like, you know, can you do well enough to where you can set people up for, you know, to where you can set generations up for life? And if you ask me, that's what defines, you know, true success. And that's, well, at least that's one of the like, that's like the legitimate, like, top 5, number 1 thing that is, that if you ask me, is going to define true success when it comes to an individual's life and personality. You got to realize, everybody else has their own definition of what success is. But I'm going to definitely tell you, can you set up generations, you know, generations for success? And definitely when it comes to, I'm not just financial, but, you know, mentally, physically, spiritually, can you do what's right and set them up for success towards the next 5, 10, 20, 50, how many years, to where they can as well keep the cycle going and build a great dynasty and empire and legacy, you know, that other people are going to want to, you know, mimic and build off of and learn from, you know, so on and so forth. For me, that's what defines real success. Just getting these pieces of paper behind your name does not define real success in my book. That just defines a great accomplishment. Again, I'll clap all day long for all my, you know, for all these kids getting their diplomas and degrees. I'll clap all day long because, again, it is a blessing, it's a God's gift, and it's a good accomplishment. But I'm telling you, the real success comes from what are you going to do with that piece of paper? What are you going to do with it? How far is that piece of paper going to take you? You know, so forth and so forth. That's just the way I look at it, you know. And that's just how it is. Like, you know, for me, that's what defines real success. That's what defines, you know, so what's that, you know, real success. Everybody got their own definitions of it, but that's what defines real success. My standards are not as low as a lot of other people's standards, to where they think that, oh, just getting you out of high school, you know, they've done their job. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. Your standards was that. I'm sorry. And I will confront anybody about this. And God is my judge and witness on that. But I will confront anybody on this. You are not, again, you have not, as a parent, this is my personal opinion, and I'll even teach my kids this, you know. You have not done your job just because you gotten your kid out of high school. You've not done your job. because they can get out of high school and fail for the next 5, 10, 20 years of their life. You've not done your job because you got your kid out of high school. You've not done your job just because you got them out of college with a degree. You've not done you have not, no, I'm sorry. Your standards are very, very low, man. Very, very low. Your standards should be, I'm telling you, when you have set up your family for generations of success and prosperity, that's when you've done your job. As a human being, as a parent, as a family man, as a family person, period. That's when you've done your job, and that's when you have garnered true success when it comes to, those, when it comes to, certain standards, or should I say, towards those standards, or at least towards the standards which I'm preaching of. Just because you get your kid out of high school I'm telling you, does not mean you've done your job as a parent. I'm not saying it's not a foundation, because it certainly is a foundation, but it's not the only foundation that you need to be successful. And that's what some people need to really start realizing, that, because there's so many kids out there who have gotten high school diplomas and college degrees, and some to many have gotten jobs, but some of those, to many of those, again, you can check these statistics if you want to, because I could be wrong, but the good majority of those are not working in fields of which they went to school for. They're working in another field, of which they didn't go to school for. Again, you can research these statistics on your own and prove me wrong if you want to. And again, I'm very open to people proving me wrong by anything I'm saying here, anything. But I'm definitely telling you that I want each and every last one of these kids, to understand, like I said before, of course I want you to graduate high school, graduate college with your degrees and your diplomas. Of course I want that. But I want you to understand that the real success comes from what are you going to do with those diplomas and those degrees. Because and towards building a legacy and a foundation for generations to come. Not just settling for what you got now and just thinking that's success. Because I'm telling you, a lot of people's standards are very, very low. And that's one of the biggest problems. A lot of people's standards are very, very low. I'm telling you, this real success comes from, can you provide for your family towards generations to come. Is definitely, one of my many definitions of success, but definitely my number one. I want to say that's definitely my number one definition of success. How many generations can you provide for? How many people can you help towards a better tomorrow? How many people can you take off the street and give them a better life, huh? There's just so many real definitions of success, and then there's the status, I'm not gonna say the status quo definitions of success, but there's the ones that they're the definitions of which we've been taught by society of definitions of success, and then we have our own individual definitions of success, of which I guess you could say we teach ourselves. The definitions of success we teach ourselves. But I'm telling you, one of the top 5, but definitely I'm going to say number 1 definition of success is going to be, can you get yourself a good enough job to where you can totally, give your family the life that, that you want to give them. And not only can you do that, but can you set them up for generations to come, for your grandkids, for your for your grandkids, your grandkids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids, your great-great-grandkids. You get the point, That's my big point. Can you set up, can you set that up? Because if you can, then I'm telling you, you've accomplished real success, definitely. But it's not just money. It's physical, spiritual, mental. It's all those things. Because, like I'm telling you, because I'm telling you, it's all those things. And I hope y'all believe in that it's all those things. So this song definitely will be titled "Surpass You," because one of the top reasons why I'm saying about surpassing you is because I have heard a lot of people's definitions of success and whatever else, and I can tell I'm gonna go way farther than those people, because their definition of success or their standards of it is very, very low, very, very low. So once again, thank y'all for listening, watching, viewing, subscribing. It's me, your boy, the man, NJ to the city with the number 2 and TL. I love everybody. God bless y'all. R&B Heart and Souls. Take care. And once again, more music coming soon and more of these videos coming soon. Take care. 116 Unashamed. God first, God of everything.